Okay, let's crack open the Boulder wallet again. I told you that there was a couple items in here that I wanted to go into a little bit deeper. And in the last video, I even showed this one, the TPT slide. And I said I was going to do another video on it. Started waiting a few days. Then I started asking myself, why am I waiting? This little thing, there's not that much to say. Let's just rip that video out. So here we are. We're going to talk about the TPT slide from Big Idea Design. I always get confused if it's Big Idea or Big Ideas. So it's one of those. TI. This is not the company logo here. This is titanium. That's what the outside of this is made out of, which is kind of what makes this awesome and makes it different than a lot of the other utility knives on the market, or pocket utility knives. There are two kinds of utility knives. We should probably start there. There are the bigger ones, the fold-out Huskies or just the full-size ones. And then there are small, pocketable ones like this that you can put in your fifth pocket of your jeans. This is obviously in the second category. So because of that, I think the titanium makes a lot more sense. If you made a larger one out of titanium, it might be cool. But at the same time, it wouldn't make as much of a difference as this does. Because if you're really going to stow this into a small little space, like the fifth pocket of your jeans, you want it to be light, but you want it to be resilient and sturdy. And that's what titanium is. A lot of people in the EDC community have already talked about, raved about, or torn apart this TPT slide. I'm a latecomer to this game, and that's kind of the perspective of this video. What does somebody who's watched all the reviews and then bought one think of it? So I'm going to break down the things that I don't use about it, the things I do use about it. There's nothing about it that I really don't like. I'll give you that right away. But like I said, there are some things I just don't use. So let's start there. We've got this little screwdriver tip slash pry bar. I guess you can call it that. It's not really a bar. I find this to be, let's get a good focus on that edge there. Oh. I find that to be a little too thick to be useful. In certain circumstances, as a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, yeah, it could be. I haven't found myself in that particular situation yet. But as a pry bar, I have tried to use it a few times as a pry bar. You can probably see a little bit of the black has been scraped a little. See, like right there. But I found it too thick to get under. Like I was trying to use it to take staples off the back of a frame, and I just couldn't get underneath the staples. And it's rounded enough that it actually made it dangerous to use for me, because you're trying to get under that staple, and if it's rounded, it's easier to roll off like that, which could roll off like that. Now it's not a blade, but that still could hurt. You could still break some skin open, and believe me, I got close a few times. Maybe I just don't have good self-control with my hands. I don't know, but I don't rely on that for that use. This hole up top here, this is a lanyard hole. I don't put the lanyard on it. I could, but I've got enough little danglies on the front. I don't want to put another one on the back. I don't need it. It comes out of this pocket just fine, and this stays in here so well. Once that's stretched out, that fits in there so well. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it doesn't even move. This clip is wonderful at holding it in place, but it's also not too tight. It does come off easily. One side effect, of course, I mentioned this in the Boulder wallet. If I can get that back in there. Boulder wallet. I almost said episode, but video that I did. I mentioned how if I put this side against my leg, it's a little bit too uncomfortable, and it's actually because of this little lip right here. And one of you guys suggested putting some heat wrap around that, little stuff that you can get, the little tubes, so you heat it up and it shrinks down. And I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go slide some over there. It's just a little too much. So usually what I do is I put this side against my leg, but it'd be nice not to have to think about what direction I'm putting in my pocket. It's not really a complaint because I'll take that little rub against my leg for how well this clip works. And it's on there good. It's not going anywhere. I mean, there's no wiggle there at all, which is surprising because this is actually a removable clip. If you take this apart, you can take this off. So you can hear a little bit of the movement of it, but it's really in there well. Another feature here that I don't use very often is that right there, which is a bit driver. So if you happen to have a drill bit or a screwdriver drill bit, hex bit, I guess is a better way to say it, on your person, you could theoretically hook that in, and it's pretty cool. I've never used it for that because typically if I'm in a situation where I have the bits, I have something better at driving them than this. But I could see that being useful to somebody. Another feature that I've never used and I've never had the chance to use is if you see the teeth inside of here, if you take the blade out, you're supposed to be able to use this as kind of a makeshift wrench. And honestly, when I first bought this, I looked around to find something in the house that had a nut on it that I could test this on, and I couldn't find anything with a nut. So that tells you why I haven't really had the opportunity to test that out. And to be honest, it's hard to get this blade out, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing. You do not want, when you have a sharp razor blade in your pocket, you do not want it coming out of here easily. I mean, that's in there. That's it. It's not going anywhere. It's actually very difficult to get it out. I've seen people do it in their videos where they get it out really quick. I don't know how I do it. I know it has to do with pushing down and moving this around. I might not even be able to get it out for this video. I get it out when I need to, mostly because I have to. It has to do with pushing in and pushing to the side. I'm not going to do it right now because it'll just be you watching me struggle. I'll get it eventually. But because of that, I'm not going to be really relying on this very much either. So really, when we talk about the TPT slide, what are we really talking about? What's the benefit here? Well, from everything I told you, really, there's only two features I'm using here. Blade and the clip. And these are not cheap. Not only because everything's expensive now, but because this is titanium. And I think when I bought it, this was $70, which means it's probably closer to $80 now. Or if I bought it at $80, maybe it's closer to $90 now. That's expensive. And actually, that is one of the things that kind of deterred me from buying this for a very long time. There's another EDC, I shouldn't say another, I'm not really an EDC YouTuber. I do share EDC stuff, but I'm not an EDC guy. I'm not an expert on all this stuff. But there's a guy, I can't remember the name of his channel. He's a red hair, red beard. If you know the field, you know the guy I'm talking about. He talked about this in a video, and he said he handed it to some people and said, "Here, use this for a little bit." And they use it, and he's like, "Do you think that you could find use in that?" And almost everybody said, "Yeah, I'd put it on a key ring. I could probably find use for that all the time." And then he told them the price, and everybody was like, "Nope, never. This is not worth that." And I think I was in that camp for a really long time. And oddly, the thing that convinced me differently I think I was waffling, we'll say, at first. Do I want it? Do I not want it? It looks like something I want to use. It's something maybe I want. But I also have a pocket knife on me, so do I really need it if I always have a pocket knife? And then I watched a video, and somebody was talking about how if you happen to have this on you when you go through TSA at the airport, you could easily just, well, maybe not easily since I just told you this is difficult, but if you got skilled at taking this blade out, which I've only had to do like twice before, which is why I'm not good at it yet, you could easily just take this blade out, throw it in the garbage can, and then you're left with this. Just the metal part, which is totally TSA friendly, and you can get on your airplane without having to surrender or throw away, which really means give to somebody who works there, your $70 or $80 tool. And now it seems like a weird reason for me to convert and decide, you know what, I'm going to buy it. But the reason it put me over the edge is for a long time, I've had a debate with myself, or not a debate with myself. I've had a problem that I haven't been able to solve, which is I don't like going anywhere without a knife, which means I don't like to fly places because I can't take my pocket knife with me unless I put it inside the suitcase. And even then you might lose it, right? They might pull it out anyways. You don't know. When I heard that argument, I realized if I had this and I just took the blade out before I even went to the airport and just took this with me and I got to wherever I was going, sorry, apparently I'm having trouble getting words out of my mouth today. When I got to wherever I was going, I could just go spend, 60 cents, maybe $1, get a utility blade, put it in here, and then I'd have some kind of knife on me for the time that I was the place where I was. And then when I left, throw the blade away, take this back home. And that put me over the edge. Now, I don't fly a ton, but just that one thing, I said, you know what? The hell with it. I kind of already wanted it. I'm going to take the dive. And then in the first week that I had this, I understood why this is so valuable. It was actually, I shouldn't even say in the first week that I had this. It was a couple days before this even arrived. I was downstairs and I was breaking down some boxes, just moved. So I had a lot of boxes that I had to just kind of break down and get rid of, cutting the tape, cutting the cardboard. Not on a ton of boxes. We're only talking like 3 or 4 boxes. But as I was doing it, it started to hit me that I'm going to need to sharpen my knife. And I'm going to need to clean my knife because it's going to get boogered up with all the tape stickiness and all of that. And sure enough, there's some wear on the knife just from that cardboard. And there's a little bit of tape and goo stuck on the blade. And I had to clean it with alcohol. That's when I realized why having one of these is so valuable. Having a utility knife, whether it is the TPT slide or any other utility knife, having one of these on you is a way to save your pocket knife from unnecessary wear, from frivolous things. You want your pocket knife, you wanted to keep it sharp so that when you need it, you can use it. You need to cut slice an apple. It's going to be sharp. It's going to do that. You need to cut into some wood. It's going to do that. It's going to be there. In those situations where you need the bigger blade, you want that knife to be ready. And having a utility blade on you makes that possible. It's the perfect solution because you don't care about that blade. I'm going to dig that under a screw. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want with this thing. If it breaks, I'll just put another one in. I bought a container of replacement blades that are about this big. I think I have like 300 of these blades, and it was like $6. So yes, you might look at this and you might think, my God, that little thing is $70, $80, but it's built wonderfully. I mean, I have abused this, and look at that titanium. It's near perfect. It holds up. And the fact that, like for $6, maybe $10, $12 now, you can get almost an infinite supply of blades makes this not expensive. It makes this economical because that blade, that pocket knife that you're saving using this for other things is going to last you longer. So you can go ahead and get the nicer pocket knife and not worry about, oh, if I heavily use my pocket knife for like 3 years, I'm going to have to sharpen the hell out of it. And eventually it's going to have to be replaced. There's only so much metal. This will extend the life of your knife. So that's why I love the TPT slide. And it's so light, and it's so weird because you look at it and it doesn't look like much, but the way it is in your hand, the ease of getting that out, and I'm not losing any control there. I've got perfect control. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to cut 100 cardboard boxes with this because, yeah, it would start to hurt. But you know what? If I had a nice pocket knife or I had a bigger utility knife, same thing would happen because 100 cardboard boxes is a lot of boxes. So if you're looking for something that this fits into, I have to say, I love it. I love the TPT slide. It's not all hype.